Welcome, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. I just want to make sure I'm admitting everyone. I think the time was a little awkward on the Eventbrite because I had put one time and for some reason it changed it. So I'm hoping everyone that wanted in gets here. I will be sending out the replay because of that time issue. So I want you to know that I am genuinely so glad that you guys are here. If you have been feeling that your body changed in midlife and nobody properly explained to you why, you're absolutely not imagining it. Maybe lately you've noticed your energy is different, your sleep is different, your stress tolerance is different, your weight may be shifted overnight, and maybe you just don't feel like yourself anymore. And tonight, I want to help you understand why. Because your body's not broken, it's been adapting and it shifts in midlife. And once you understand what your body is actually doing, everything starts to make a lot more sense. So, tonight I'm going to walk you through what changes happen in midlife, why symptoms suddenly appear, and why your body responds differently. And most importantly, what your body actually needs in order to heal, feel safe, supported, and energized again. My name is Peggy Moore. I love that picture. I was having a much better hair day. My hair's a little frizzy today. Sorry. But I'm a registered nurse and a functional medicine consultant, and I specialize in helping midlife women understand their bodies and what their bodies are going through right now. Over the years, I kept hearing women say, I don't feel like myself anymore. I'm exhausted. I'm gaining weight in places I never gained weight before. But my labs are normal. But I know that something feels off. And so what I realized is that so many women were trying harder, pushing through without really understanding what their bodies were responding to. So my approach is a little different. I look at the full picture of hormones, stress, metabolism, gut health, nervous system, and how all the systems work together and shift in midlife. Because your body isn't broken, it's responding, it's communicating. And once we understand those signals, we can finally start supporting the body differently. All right, I'm going to double check the chat and then admit. Okay. I just admitted a couple more people, but we're going to continue. I'm doing this webinar a little different today. I'm telling a story. And so I want you to think about my friend here. She sits in her car for a few minutes before going inside. The engine has just gone quiet, but the faint ticking of the hot metal still fills the air. Her coffee in the cup holder is cold, but life keeps moving around her. But she feels strangely still. And for the first time in a long time, she lets herself notice it. Something feels different, not dramatic, not catastrophic, just different. Her body doesn't feel like it used to. Her energy is different. Her stress feels different. Patience is different. And her sleep is different. And maybe more than anything, she just doesn't quite feel like herself anymore. So eventually she goes to the doctor because something has to be wrong, right? And she tries to explain. She says, I'm exhausted. I'm not sleeping well. I feel anxious. And I've never felt anxious this way before. I'm gaining weight and I don't understand why. I'm trying to do everything I'm supposed to be doing. I'm trying to eat well, exercise, intermittent fast, trying to cut out carbs, doing all the things that everyone says that you should do. And so the doctor runs some labs, and a few days later, she hears everything looks normal. No real explanation, no roadmap, just you're probably stressed, try to sleep more, exercise more consistently. And unfortunately, this is where women start blaming themselves. So she gets back in her car, shuts the door, turns the AC on full blast, and she brakes. Because if everything is fine, then why does she feel so awful? And the thought slowly creeps in, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm failing. Maybe I'm not disciplined enough. Maybe I just need to try harder. I need to wake up earlier. I need to meal prep better. I need to be more consistent, get more motivated, push harder. because that's what's always worked before, right? Effort in, results out. So, but it's not working now. But she still keeps thinking, I'm just not doing enough. The next day comes the morning rush, the emails, the work, the responsibilities, the mental load, because midlife women become masters at functioning while exhausted, smiling while feeding the kiddos breakfast when that woman has 100 things going on in her brain. Then somewhere around 2:30 it hits. Not gradually, not gently. It's like her brain suddenly stops cooperating. And she rereads the same sentence 3 times. She can't focus, she feels exhausted, but also strangely wired at the same time. And before she even thinks about it, her hand reaches for more caffeine, another coffee, an energy drink, just something to push through. And not because she wants it, because she needs it to keep functioning. And deep down, she knows this isn't fixing anything, it's just helping her survive the day. And that is where many women start surviving on stress hormones and caffeine. So I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat and admit people, let me know if you can hear me. So this day finally is done. The house gets quiet. She crawls into bed exhausted. But the moment everything slows down, her mind speeds up. The thoughts start looping, everything she forgot, everything she still needs to do, everything she should be handling better. Eventually she falls asleep, and then suddenly 2 a.m. and she's awake again, wide awake, heart racing, mind spinning. Her body is exhausted, but her nervous system won't let her fully rest. And the hardest part is she's trying so hard to do all the things right. And this is often where most women realize something deeper has changed. This story could be me. This story could be you. This story is so many women that I talk to on a daily basis. Midlife changes things, and we have to learn how to change with our bodies in order to feel like ourselves again. So, if any part of this sounds familiar, and you're hearing this, you might be wondering, okay, but why is this happening? And this is the part I'm here to talk about tonight. Because most women experience all these experiences in midlife, they're not random. They're real biological shifts happening inside the body. And for many women, midlife becomes the moment the body stops compensating quietly. For years, your body has adapted to chronic stress, poor sleep, undereating, overfunctioning, blood sugar swings, inflammation, and that constant mental load of just being a woman and doing all the things. And at first, the body is very resilient. It keeps showing up, it keeps pushing through, it keeps performing. But eventually, your body says, can't do this anymore. I can't keep carrying this all the same way. And that's often when women start noticing that weight shift, the energy crashes, the brain fog, anxiety, poor sleep, increased inflammation, lower stress tolerance, and that waking up at 2 a.m. Because the body has adapted for so long. And now with the shifts that happen in midlife, it's not able to keep up in the same ways. What worked in our 20s and 30s does not work in our 40s, 50s, and 60s. This is why and how so many women feel so frustrated with what's going on in their body. Because when the body starts changing in midlife, most women would respond with the exact advice we've been taught our whole lives, right? Just eat less, exercise more, push through, ignore the stress, drink more caffeine, try harder. And maybe those strategies worked temporarily in our 20s and 30s. But midlife biology is different because the body is no longer asking for more stress. It is asking for support. Midlife bodies need safety, stability, recovery, nourishment, and a steady rhythm. The goal is no longer pushing the body into submission. The goal is helping the body feel safe enough to function well. In the Midlife Metabolism Reset program, we learn how to listen to what our body is communicating, and we learn to recognize that new rhythm so we can start working with it again. Because when the body feels supported instead of constantly stressed, everything starts responding differently. Women carry so much. We have work, we have church, we have family, we have friends, we have dinner, we have grocery lists, we have all the different tasks that the kids need to do for school, all their sports events, all the things they need for all those events. Our mind is constantly on. And our nervous system was never designed to stay in survival mode 24/7. But many women, including myself, lived there for years. And eventually the body does adapt, but it starts to respond differently in midlife. And that 2 a.m. wake up call we talked about, that's often your nervous system and stress hormones that have become dysregulated. The body starts becoming more alert at night and more exhausted during the day. And that 2:30 p.m. crash, that's not laziness, that's stress. That's a stressed body running out of fuel and compensation. And the body then shifts into protection mode. And one of the ways it protects itself is to conserve energy, which is why many women suddenly notice that belly weight, the fatigue, the anxiety, that overwhelm, that feeling wired but tired. That is a nervous system issue. And not because it's failing, but it's because the body has adapted to stress for so long. This is one of the first things we notice when we work with things inside the Midlife Metabolism Reset program is listening to our bodies and learning how to communicate with it again. Those symptoms, those feelings, all those things that are happening are the body's way of communicating to us. And we kind of have to figure that out again in midlife because we've been so busy focused on everybody else. We have to figure out our own body again and how to work with it and get it feeling better. The second biggest shift is blood sugar. So, blood sugar becomes less forgiving in midlife. When you were younger, your body could compensate more easily for skipped meals, living off of caffeine, high stress, poor sleep, and that constant rushing. But in midlife, as hormones and metabolism change, those patterns start to catch up. And this is where women start experiencing all those symptoms we talked about, the afternoon crash, shakiness, that hangry, or cravings, brain fog, and anxiety. And what do most women do when they have those symptoms? Well, they push through with more caffeine, more sugar, skip meals so they can try to be healthier. But the body doesn't experience this as help at this time, it experiences it as stress. So instead of stabilizing energy, it creates bigger energy swings. And that roller coaster affects your stress, your hormones, your sleep, inflammation, how you store that fat, and your metabolism. And so that afternoon crash is actually physiology. In the Midlife Metabolism Reset program, we learn simple ways to work with this new rhythm of midlife so that energy can become more stable throughout the day. Next, I want you to think of your body like a dance. For years, your hormones acted like the choreography. They helped direct energy, they directed mood, sleep, metabolism, and stress recovery. But in midlife, we know that those hormones start to shift. And so the choreography starts to change. Estrogen and progesterone begin fluctuating differently. And those shifts affect far more than just reproduction. They affect your nervous system, your sleep quality, your stress resilience. They affect your insulin sensitivity and inflammation and body composition, and how your brain processes stress. Before I started learning and teaching this, I never realized how much estrogen and progesterone do for our bodies. And I think that is why women have this such profound symptoms in midlife, because that shift of estrogen and progesterone, it does way more than we think it does. And this is often when women say, I suddenly can't handle stress the same way. And I want you to know it's because it's biological, it's physiological. Your body responds differently because of those fluctuation shifts. And we just have to learn how to communicate better with our body and listen to those communications our body is giving us so that we can figure out excuse me, that rhythm again and how our body needs support. Our body needs a different kind of support now in our 40s and 50s than it did in our 20s and 30s. And then the fourth shift is one of the biggest frustrations, and that's recovery and metabolism change. This is where it gets confusing because the strategies that used to work aren't working anymore. So many respond by, well, then I have this new fat around my belly. And so now I'm going to exercise harder. I'm going to push more, I'm going to do more cardio. And so therefore they're sleeping less, they're ignoring hunger, and they're trying to get disciplined and push through. But unfortunately, in midlife, our body doesn't interpret that as safety. It interprets it as stress. And when the body feels stressed, it adapts by conserving energy, which means that muscle recovery slows down. If you're a regular weightlifter and you're used to lifting weights and you notice that your recovery time needs to be a little longer in midlife, that's part of the midlife shift. Inflammation increases in midlife. Fatigue increases. Metabolism becomes more protective. We have to help it to feel safe. And this is why over-exercising and that under-eating backfires in midlife. The body is just trying to survive. Your body's not failing. It's adapted to all the things that we've put it through for so many years. But now it's time to tell our body that it's safe. It's time to give our body steady rhythms and help it to be able to heal. And this is why the Midlife Metabolism Reset Program focuses on restoration and learning those rhythms and how to restore that balance again instead of pushing and punishment and strict regimens. Honestly, this is the moment where everything can start to shift emotionally. Because once women understand why the body's changed, why old strategies stopped working, why they feel exhausted, wired, blamed, or stuck, this is usually the huge sense of relief because now it finally makes sense. And the next question becomes, okay, so what does help? Because if punishment, restriction, pushing harder, and surviving on caffeine aren't working anymore, what does the midlife body actually need? And this is one of the biggest mindset shifts that I teach women. Midlife biology responds very differently than it did in your 20s and 30s. The body no longer responds best to those extremes, depletions, overstressing the symptoms. Instead, the body responds best to support. So let's talk about the 4 things the midlife body actually needs. The first thing the midlife body needs is nervous system safety. And this is where I need you to understand something really important. The body heals when it feels safe. If the nervous system feels constantly under threat, the body shifts into protective mode. And when the body's in protective mode, healing gets deprioritized. The body becomes more focused on surviving, conserving energy, staying alert, managing stress. So this means the things like sleep, digestion, hormone balance, metabolism, and recovery all become harder. And this is why so many women that feel wired, exhausted, tired all day, but awake at night, feel overwhelmed constantly and are unable to rest. Our nervous system needs to have time to power down. This is why rest is not laziness. Rest is biological. Our body needs that time to rest and reset. excuse me, midlife women often have spent years over functioning, over giving, overperforming, and overriding that exhaustion. But eventually the nervous system says, I can't keep up anymore. I can't keep operating like this. So, one of the most powerful things we can do in midlife is to teach our body safety, because calm before repair matters. The body heals when it feels safe. This is why a lot of women start actually sleeping better before they start to lose that weight. Their body has to feel safe in order to let this go. The second thing that the midlife body needs is blood sugar stability. Our body needs stable fuel and stable energy, because blood sugar affects far more than diabetes. We need to start thinking about our blood sugar far before that word ever could even possibly come into play. Blood sugar affects your energy, your sleep, your stress hormones, your metabolism, your mood, and your stress resilience. Think about when you're hungry. How well are you able to tolerate that stress? And remember that 230 crash that we talked about? For many women, that's actually a blood sugar and stress response happening together. So, what do most women do? Well, we reach for more caffeine or something sugary to get us through the afternoon. And then we just push through because the body experiences more stress. And one of the biggest shifts in midlife is that the body becomes less forgiving with inconsistent fuel, which means the answer is not eating less, skipping meals, and surviving on caffeine. The body needs steady support. It needs protein, fiber, and healthy fats and stable meals. So your body feels like it's safe and it doesn't have to store up for winter. Steady meals means meals 3 times a day, 3 to 4 hours apart, with protein, fiber, and a healthy fat. And if you will create that system with and help and steadily fuel your body, you will feel the difference. You will start to have steady energy. And this is one of the first things women notice inside the midlife metabolism reset program, is that their energy becomes steadier through the day. I know this was the case with me because I would skip breakfast, or I'd eat breakfast and then I'd skip lunch because I was just busy. And when I really started to concentrate on getting that steady fuel every 3 to 4 hours of protein, fiber, and healthy fat, I not only felt better during the day, I slept better. I didn't have that 2 a.m. wake up because my blood sugar didn't crash. My body had the carbs that I ate at dinner to get me through the night and help me sleep better. I was able to lose weight because my body knew, hey, we're going to get fed on a consistent basis. We're going to get fed the things that we need, the protein, the fiber, and the healthy fat. We know we're going to get that, so we feel safe, we feel supportive, and it really has a huge play on how your energy lasts throughout the day. The third thing the midlife body needs is hormone supportive rhythms. And this is where I come back to the dance metaphor a little bit. For years, your hormones helped choreograph the rhythm of your body. It influenced your sleep, your metabolism, your mood, your recovery, and your stress resilience. But in midlife, that rhythm changes. We talked about that. And one of the biggest mistakes women make is trying to force their body to perform in the same way that it did 15 or 20 years ago. And our body in midlife does not respond to more restriction or more cardio or more intensity or more pressure or more pushing. Midlife hormones respond much better to consistency than extremes. Midlife bodies crave rhythm, consistent sleep, consistent nourishment, consistent movement, consistent recovery. And honestly, this is why so many women feel exhausted when they're trying to get back on track, because they're trying to push things. They're trying to force that old choreography onto a body that is dancing very differently now. And so instead of working with the new rhythm, they keep fighting it. But when we learn how to support our body differently, as it has started this shift, our sleep improves, our stress tolerance improves, our energy becomes steady. We don't have that 2:30 afternoon crash. Inflammation decreases as our body starts to feel safe again. Midlife is not a time where your body is betraying you. It's just changed. Things are different, and your body is just asking for a different rhythm. Not more punishment, but safety and stability. The fourth thing that the midlife body needs is recovery. This is one of the biggest mind shifts for women in midlife because for years, many women were taught metabolism is just about eating less, exercise more, burning more calories, calories in, calories out. But metabolism is so much more than that. Metabolism is your body's ability to create, use, and manage energy. And a stressed, exhausted body cannot use energy well. So when women respond to this fatigue in midlife by over-exercising, under-eating, ignoring hunger, skipping recovery, and pushing through exhaustion, the body adapts to become even more protective. Recovery slows down, inflammation increases, muscle becomes harder to maintain, and energy decreases. And this is why so many women feel so frustrated at this time in their life because they're working so hard trying to do all the things, but their body feels stuck. Their body is just trying to survive. And one of the most powerful things a woman can do in midlife life is starting to support that metabolism through recovery versus punishment. Walking, strength training, not in a rushed kind of way, a thoughtful kind of way. Sleep, protein, nourishment, learning how to manage that stress, and allowing for muscle support and recovery, allowing time to reset. Because muscle is protective in midlife, recovery is protective in midlife. Restoration is protective in midlife. And when the body finally feels supported instead of attacked, it responds differently. A supported body feels safe, which allows for calmer, steady energy and steady sleep. This is exactly why I created the Midlife Metabolism Reset Program, because so many women are trying so hard using strategies that were once working, but they're still feeling exhausted, crashing at 2 p.m., running on caffeine, sleeping poorly, and gaining weight in places where they don't want it. And meanwhile, their nervous system is overloaded, their blood sugar is unstable, their hormones are shifting, and their body is just trying to adapt to all the stress. Women in midlife do not need more punishment. They need support. They need strategy. They need to help someone to help them understand what their body is actually communicating. And this is exactly what the program was designed to do. It helps women create steadier energy, reduce those crashes and cravings, sleep better, support hormones and metabolism, calm stress and inflammation, and finally feel like themselves again. Not by fighting their body harder, but learning how to work with it better. Inside the Midlife Metabolism Reset, we focus on listening to what our bodies are communicating, creating that steady energy throughout the day, learning how to support our hormones and our metabolism, figuring out ways to sleep better, and we wake up feeling refreshed and ready for our day. The program includes weekly lessons, coaching support weekly, workbooks, videos, and accountability. Because healing doesn't happen through perfection, it happens through consistency and support. I honestly think this is where transformation starts to become possible because understanding your body is powerful. But having the support while you actually apply it, that changes everything. The Midlife Metabolism Reset Program is a 12-week program designed specifically for midlife women who are tired of fighting their bodies and ready to finally understand how to support this new rhythm. Inside the program, you'll receive, like I said, weekly lessons, workbooks, action steps, and we have a weekly coaching call where we get together for ongoing support and guidance. We focus on helping you create steady energy throughout your day, reduce those crashes and cravings, and support hormones and metabolism, improve sleep, and help you feel like yourself again. This is not another crash diet, and this is not an extreme program. It is a step-by-step process that helps women work with midlife biology instead of constantly fighting it. The regular investment for this program is $12.50. But if you book a call with me within the next 4 days, I'm putting the program at half price at $625. And I do want to mention that space is intentionally limited because I only take 10 women at a time. I like to be able to provide individualized attention and real support throughout the entire 12-week program because I don't want women feeling like they're doing this alone. So if tonight you felt like someone finally explained what was going on in your body, then I want you to know you're the exact woman I created this program for. You're not lazy, you're not failing, you're not broken. Your body is just trying to protect you. And when we as women finally stop fighting our biology and start supporting it differently, then everything begins to shift. Energy shifts, sleep shifts, stress resiliency shifts, and our confidence shifts. And we start to feel like our old selves again. So, if you're ready to stop guessing and finally understand what your body has been trying to say, take a screenshot or a picture and book a call with me so we can chat. I would love to support you and help you apply for the Midlife Metabolism Reset. We'll talk about what's happening in your body, what patterns may be driving your symptoms, and whether this program feels like it's the right next step for you. Because you don't have to figure this out alone. Us midlife women need to stick together. So I'm going to close. For everyone that did sign up, I will be sending this replay out, so you will still get the information. I hope that you learned something about your body in midlife and recognize that midlife is just a time of change. And we do need some help and support to recognize what are those changes and how we can work with those changes to help ourselves feel better again. The things that used to work when we were in our 20s and 30s don't work in our 40s, 50s, and 60s. And so it's helpful to have someone guide you through that process and help you learn how to listen to your body again and support it so that you are able to feel like yourself again.